Greetings from Hangzhou, China. We are in day 5 of our 14-day quarantine, and all is well. Thank you for your prayers for Lucy. Her fever, not even fever really, but her temperature has gone down back to her normal range, and so all is good. Not much to report, and in fact, this video is going to be something a bit different. Rather than talking about quarantine, I just wanted to share a message about Jesus. And I was praying this morning, and my prayer was part of my prayer was something like, God, where are you? And in the midst of everything happening in the world, and God, why don't you do something? And the thought came to my mind, well, why don't you do something? Me, why don't you do something? And I've been thinking about making a video like this for several days. In quarantine, there's not much good maybe we can do other than with one another. And so I wanted to just spend a little bit of time maybe sharing some good news or some words to you, especially since today is Sunday. So this video might be a bit longer. I don't know. Lucy told me, I made a 10-minute video the other day. She said, don't do that. People won't watch it. So I don't know. We'll see how long it goes. But, this thought maybe has been on people's mind. Where is God? And what is God doing? And why does it feel like God is absent in all of this? With so many people getting the virus, so many people sick, people are worried, people are scared, and they don't know. Maybe people are losing their jobs, and how can they make money? How can they pay bills? And so on and so forth. And it just had me think about, first of all, I watched a good sermon, and maybe I'll put a link down below this video to Randy Harris speaking at ACU Chapel, and he talked about the incarnation of Jesus and how Jesus becoming man, he is able to identify with us and the things that we go through fully, and that's true, and that's good, and he can say it better than I can. But I was thinking about the cross, and on the cross, when Jesus is in his moment of dying, despair, his friends, his followers had mostly abandoned him. He had been betrayed. His closest disciple had denied him, and there he is, half naked, hung up, tortured, slowly dying in shame and agony. And he says this line. He says, my God, why have you forsaken me? And for so long, I thought that what Jesus was saying in this moment of despair was that God had indeed forsaken him. That because of the sin of the world being put on Jesus in that moment, that God turned his back on Jesus. That God couldn't be in the presence of Jesus. And I no longer think this is true. Maybe you disagree with me, that's okay. I don't think this is true. Because there's one fact, is that Jesus is God. And God cannot deny himself. God cannot turn his back on himself. Jesus is God. And not only is Jesus God, but that's not how God has operated from the beginning of time. When Adam and Eve sinned, where was God? God came into the garden and he looked for them. He sought them out. He was in their presence and they were in his presence. When he kicked them out of the garden, and now Adam and Eve are outside of the garden, where was God? God was outside of the garden with them. When Cain and Abel had their conflict and Cain killed Abel, where was God? He was there looking for Cain. And when Cain went off to a far land, God protected him. And we see this pattern throughout. And then we see the greatest example of it all. If God cannot be in the presence of sin, then how can God become man? How can the incarnation be true if God can't be in the presence of sin? Because we all sin. Not only that, but when Jesus, who is God, became flesh, who did he spend time with? He didn't spend time with all of his time with the religious leaders who thought they maybe thought they didn't sin. He spent time with tax collectors, prostitutes, zealots, demon-possessed men and women, the sick, the hurting, the foreigners, the children, the outcasts, the low of society. That is who Jesus spent time with. That is who God spent time with. So what do we make of this, my God, why have you forsaken me? We have to remember Jesus is hanging on a cross, dying, suffocating, difficult to breathe. And he says these words, which are the opening line of Psalm 22. Psalm 22 in our Bibles has 31 verses, and I don't know about you, but maybe if you were hanging on a cross, you wouldn't be able to say all of those verses as well. So maybe it's our responsibility to learn the entirety of the psalm. Let's read it together. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? So far from my cries of anguish. My God, I cry out by day, but you do not answer. By night, but I find no rest. Yet you are enthroned as the Holy One. You are the one Israel praises. In you our ancestors put their trust. They trusted, and you delivered them. To you they cried out and were saved. In you they trusted and were not put to shame. But I am a worm and not a man, scorned by everyone, despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They hurl insults, shaking their heads. He trusts in the Lord, they say. Let the Lord rescue him. Let him deliver him, since he delights in him. Yet you brought me out of the womb. You made me trust in you, even at my mother's breast. From birth I was cast on you. From my mother's womb you have been my God. Do not be far from me, for trouble is near, and there is no one to help. Many bulls surround me, strong bulls of Bashan encircle me. Roaring lions that tear their prey open their mouths wide against me. I am poured out like water, and all of my bones are out of joint. My heart has turned to wax. It is melted within me. My mouth is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. You lay me in the dust of death. Dogs surround me. A pack of villains encircles me. They pierce my hands and my feet. All my bones are on display. People stare and gloat over me. They divide my clothes among them and cast lots for my garment. But you, Lord, do not be far from me. You are my strength. Come quickly to help me. Deliver me from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dogs. Rescue me from the mouth of the lions. Save me from the horns of the wild oxen. I will declare your name to my people. In the assembly I will praise you. You who fear the Lord, praise him. All you descendants of Jacob, honor him. Revere him, all you descendants of Israel. Listen, for he has not despised or scorned the suffering of the afflicted one. He has not hidden his face from him, but has listened to his cry for help. From you comes the theme of my praise in the great assembly. Before those who fear you, I will fulfill my vows. The poor will eat and be satisfied. Those who seek the Lord will praise him. May your hearts live forever. All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations will bow down before him, for dominion belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations. All the rich of the earth will feast and worship. All who go down to the dust will kneel before him. Those who cannot keep themselves alive. Posterity will serve him. Future generations will be told about the Lord. They will proclaim his righteousness, declaring to a people yet unborn, he has done it. So where was God when Jesus was on the cross? God was with Jesus. God was, as Paul said, in Jesus, reconciling the world to himself. He did not despise. He did not reject. He did not turn his face, but he heard the prayer. So where is God now? God is with the suffering. God is with those who fear. God is with those who are calling on his name. God is there with us, with me, with you. He has not abandoned us. He has not forsaken us. He has not turned his face away from us. God is with us. And that leaves the question, if God is with us, then why all of this bad in our world today? But I'm over 10 minutes. Maybe that's a video for next Sunday. Anyway, thank you for listening. May God bless you. And I pray that we can all find ways to bring healing, bring goodness, bring good news, bring love to our broken world. See you next time.